Okay, so we're going to do a quick prayer before we start the podcast, and I'm just going to get down and pray. To the Father God, thank you for bringing us together to do this podcast. We're bringing in MarKeisha. She's a great personality, great person, and is doing a lot of things in business. And I'm really grateful to have her on this podcast to give her great knowledge to the people and help get into the cybersecurity space, even business, and just showing that you can be a good Black woman in this space, dominate, and be a straight dog without having no insecurities or anything. So thank you, God, for having her on. Thank you, Derek, for having Darius on to record this podcast. And thank you, God, for giving me the strength to continue this podcast, no matter all the things that go on behind the scenes. But no matter what, the mission is the mission, and we'll continue to do what we do. Thank you, God, in Jesus' name. Amen. Welcome to another edition of the Tech Woke Podcast. I am your host, Chris. I'm an RMS specialist in the GovTech space. And today's podcast is a great podcast we're going to have. We're going to have a good friend of mine. We have built a great relationship over the time. She has last came on the podcast. Her name is MarKeisha Snaith. She's a business owner, cybersecurity specialist, and overall a great person. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce and bring on MarKeisha Snaith. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for the prayer.
No problem.
I always appreciate when you start off and you pray, and that's with everything that you do, every event I've been to, every podcast I've been on. So I'm truly appreciative of that.
No problem. Like for me, I've been through a harsh time in my life, very harsh. A friend of mine, he'd been on the podcast, Osasu, and he always would pray with me. He's the one that got me back to the church. He's the one that's kind of been mentoring in this space. So no matter what, you got to give it to the Lord. So that's why I always try to pray. And then too, the God, always works through you, and you always got to start off right. So thank you for noticing.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
How's your Saturday going?
It's going well. It's a little windy, but besides that, it's always nice. Always great to be alive.
No, I love it. So MarKeisha, I've been saying we've both been doing a lot. Remember last time we did the podcast? I think.
Yes. When was that?
It was like I think it was like 6 months, 7. I'm gonna say a year.
Wow, time just flies. Okay.
And throughout this time, like we got a lot going on. You spoke at GovTechCon.
I did. I spoke at GovTechCon 2024, their first ever conference. So I'm super excited about the one for 2025. And then I've had the opportunity to do some other engagements and to do some other lives and podcasts. So that's been amazing.
Yeah, and for me too, like when you came on the podcast, I was thinking I was like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. Now we're almost 4,000 now.
Wow.
So, and then you was one of the highest viewed videos. And, I've been to a lot of events myself. So we've both been growing over this time.
We have. Wow. I mean, that just goes to show that when you are consistent and you are on the right path, success will come.
Yeah, it will come. And as long as you have a fruitful mission, because, I personally, with this, paying out a lot of money in podcasting, I do it I do it to be honest, with the joy. And I know I'm one of the only people that can do it the right way.
Okay. Confidence.
You gotta have that confidence.
You gotta have the confidence. I like that.
Yeah, so that's how you move, and I know that's how you move. Like when I see you on the stage, just like the audiences, like you've been to Thanksgiving, like you.
I have.
There are people following you around.
I know. I pop up here and there. I mean, I try to show up when I can.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, at the end of the day, it is easy to have the imposter syndrome, right? Like, why am I here? Why am I in this position? But I do know that at the end of the day, for me, I am doing God's work. And as you had mentioned, he moves through you. And so my successes and my blessings all come from God. And so my mission is to always give to the people in any way that I possibly can.
Yeah, because and I'm going to say this one last thing. I ain't trying to hype you up too much. You know what I'm saying?
But we should hype you up.
We got to hype each other up. But us also, like, in just seeing what you do, you go to, smaller businesses. You always doing, people that's on the come up. So I've noticed these things that you've done over the time we've been talking and having a good time. So from just watching from afar, you've been doing great work. Just to kind of shout you out,
Thank you. I appreciate it. And likewise, Chris, whenever somebody talks about, they always bring you up in circles.
Oh, that's good.
Chris is doing that. Tech work, da 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 da.
Oh, I love that.
So people really admire you, Chris. Okay. I don't think you know how much people admire you.
I got you. So MarKeisha, I work in RMF space. You work in the RMF and the GRC space.
I work in many spaces.
Yeah, many spaces. From what what are you, Jamaican?
I am.
You're Jamaican, so you cooking, you're cleaning, you're doing everything.
I'm doing everything.
20 jobs.
We are working out here.
You need to be getting into comedy. Oh, get a podcast coming soon, right?
I do have a podcast coming soon, yeah. And it's definitely going to rouse some people up.
I can't wait. I like controversy.
I do too.
I'm a little, for me, I'm a little toxic. I'm sorry. It's a little toxic. I just want to.
At least you can admit it.
So MarKeisha, yeah, I'm a coach now. I'm a coach in RMF.
Yes.
I'm a coach in cybersecurity, and also I have something coming out called the RMF Academy, right? So I've been noticing. I've talked to so many people that talk about GRC, RMF, and they don't really understand the field. And I just want to. That's what the main reason we're going to do this episode, to kind of break people down. Like, what is this thing? Because it's a buzzword. Like 6 figures this, 200K that. You know how hard this job is.
It is a buzzword, but it is difficult.
Yeah.
Not gonna even lie to you.
Yeah. So we're going to break this down to the bare bone. We're just going to mainly have a conversation, just talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like with GRC, first we're going to start off like this. What is, I'm gonna just describe RMF, you can do GRC.
Sure.
Like, you can go first.
Okay. All right. So GRC, governance, risk or risk management, and compliance. So what exactly is that? So there's a few different fundamentals, I guess you can say, of GRC. So let's talk about governance, the governance portion. So governance is more so around your policies. How are you aligning the IT with the business side? That's really important. A lot of people don't really think about aligning the business with security or IT. And it's really our responsibility when you are in GRC to make sure you're doing that. When we're talking about the risk or the risk management, the threats, because at the end of the day, you're protecting the data that is on the information systems. And then when we talk about compliance, we're more so talking about what guidelines, what regulations are you adhering to? So that could be different things like SOX, it could be SOC, it could be ISO, NIST, PCI, just to name a few.
Okay, I love that. So for the risk management framework side, so I worked in the government space. I've been doing that my whole life. So we're working in the risk management space. The whole thing that the audience, y'all need to know, you bring it in the system to the government system, government programs. You have to make sure that it's properly risk managed. So what you would do to risk manage the systems, you would create STIGs to harden the system, because there's certain things, like some systems have multi-factor authentication. We don't do that in the government. So we're just making sure that system is properly managed through the NIST guidelines and following the 7 steps for RMF to make sure that system is properly implemented so that it can be, so we can't get hacked. And, working in the government is a privilege, but it's also a privilege protecting the data that's in the government. So that's just to sum it up for what it is,
Yep.
And so MarKeisha, it's like, and I always think, is this position, so I always think of this position, it's like for extroverted people. Because you got to be some type of liking people, right?
You do. It is client facing at the end of the day. So you're not like super technical unless you do move into a super technical role. But it's not for somebody who wants to be behind the scenes. So you really do have to like people. You have to know how to communicate well. You have to speak well.
Yeah, and I agree. So it's not for, I think it's not for introverted people.
Yeah.
I have never seen an introverted person's success as a GRC or RMF.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
In terms of success,
Yeah.
It is very difficult to be successful when you are introverted in GRC. Now, let's be clear. So we're not saying you're not able to do that, right? Because I think last time we spoke, a lot of people took a few nuggets and twisted it. We're just saying that from the people we have encountered that have been introverts, they haven't been as successful as they possibly could be.
Yeah, and then also, I've been noticing it. I know you noticed it because you've been doing it longer, but through coaching people, I've realized that, you got it. When you even picking a position in cybersecurity, you have to pick it that's best for you. Mm-hmm. Either as hands-on, because a lot of people don't even know what they want to do.
They don't. And that's another thing when it comes to coaching. You are really having to understand, in my opinion, the psychology of people. You have to pull out of people their likes, their dislikes, what are they good at, their strengths, their weaknesses. Because if you don't do that, a lot of people waste time and end up in positions that they probably shouldn't even be in.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because like even then, I wish somebody can create this business. Like, I wish somebody can create like $1 million business. Like, oh yeah, there's a website where you can go to pick what you want to do in cybersecurity RT. What's your thoughts on that?
Now let's delve a little bit deeper into that
Let's
because
go.
there are
They're not
some
good.
websites like that. But what exactly would you like to see? Like where you can put in your likes, your dislikes, your skills? Okay, then yeah. I mean, and that's something easy to develop. Like we could reach out to a developer and say, hey, can we get something that does this, this, and that? And we can make it happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right. You're right. But let's go. Like you said, that like let's dive into just a little bit on the psychology level. Like, is it more about emotional feel of it, or is it more of like technical feel of it? What you think? Like meaning like introverted, extroverted, your personality type. Do you think your personality type feeds into it more or not?
a little bit. I don't think I really focus. I mean, I focus on that, but I don't spend a lot of time focusing on that with my clients. For me, it's primarily thinking about what it is that you do on a day to day. How are you feeling about that? What has you wanting to change from that particular role that you're currently in? In addition to that, we're talking about what are the things that you like thus far in your current role and what are the things that you absolutely hate. And I always give a prime example. I had a client come to me or a potential client come to me and they said, hey, I really want to get into DevOps. And I'm like, okay, great. And they were talking about some of the things they've been doing. And one of the things I said, oh, like, have you started coding? Like, what are you learning? And they were like, well, I hate to code. I'm like, well, I mean, how is DevOps going to work out for you? You hate to code. And so it's things like that because I think a lot of people don't understand, like they don't think about those things, which is where coaches are needed because we pull that out of people and we have people focus on reflecting on those actual things.
Yeah, and that's what makes you a great coach because you got to think about that. Most people they're just like money, money, money. From dealing with you, it's just like you're a professional. I ain't gonna hold you. You're a
Thank you.
professional.
Thank you.
But back to the GRC thing. So we identified maybe the personality type for the position.
Mm-hmm.
We identified what it is. So like with getting into the space, like I describe RMF. Like, can you kind of describe like what in the private sector, what can get you a position in GRC?
What can get you a
Like what do you
position in GRC?
like what do you need? Do you like certifications? And just describe like maybe projects, just describe things like that can help somebody.
Sure. So I think we get asked this question a lot, right? Because people are always saying, oh, everybody's talking about getting into the space, but what can you actually do? Nobody's telling us what you can actually do. So I always tell people, you don't necessarily need a certification, but it helps. It's like the icing on the cake, right? It just helps the cake taste better. And so at the end of the day, you can go out and you can get a certification. ISC squared, they do have a certified in cybersecurity cert. Always recommend it to my clients who absolutely have zero clue what they want to do. You can go out, you can get that. The self-paced version is free. And then if you are looking for the instructor-led version, you do have to pay for that. You can also go ahead and seek out the CompTIA Security Plus. I think that that's a really great certification to have. And then there's also some other courses that you can take online too that are more geared towards learning the GRC and the different fundamentals of GRC, as well as, finding those things on YouTube, a quick Google search, Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning is always great as well. So I think those are some certifications that you can start off with. And we can definitely dive a little bit deeper into that because outside of that educational piece, in terms of projects that you can do, I think it's a little bit harder to, like when you're thinking about like, oh, I want to get into doing help desk, I want to get into doing security engineering, you can have more, like it's easy to do technical projects, but because GRC isn't as technical, it can be a little difficult to find the projects that you want to do. When I speak to clients, I'm always suggesting that they start off with NIST cybersecurity framework. So NIST CSF, that is the foundational framework that you can start with. And make sure you understand what those domains and those functions are. And then from there, understand the actual controls. Once you get that understanding, you can start giving yourself controls to practice with. And that's a type of project that you can do.
Yeah, and also you have a pathways program in that specifically, right?
Yes, I do. So I have the Achieve It Pathways program. I have partnered with my business partner, Amanda Reed. She is the founder and CEO of Women Tech IT Consulting Group. And so with her background in training and my background in career development, we thought it'd be perfect to put together a program that really helps individuals make a easier transition into the tech space. And so one of the courses that we teach is GRC with privacy added, because privacy is fairly new. For those that may not know, NIST 853 revision 5 had came out about 2 years ago. People are slowly transitioning over there, but it is important to understand the privacy side.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And just so, and I'm gonna piggyback. We're gonna go more into your program a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the RMF space, I would recommend to a lot of people getting your Security Plus is a good certification to get. It's kind of a requirement in the DoD. I'm not sure with the DoD. I do know DOJ. I'm sorry. I do know there's people there without certifications, but it's kind of a requirement to do it. And I would just suggest you get it so you can understand the lingo. Also, too, if you're trying to get into DoD space, NIST 853 revision 5 is what they're transitioning to. They was on revision 4, so they're transitioning to revision 5. Just read that, understand the steps in RMF. Also work on projects. You can go on ChatGPT, create controls, can create ACAT scans, create these things so you can practice to add as your project so that you can talk about it when you do interviews, because they're going to ask what, and if you did that, some people that work in the field don't even do that. They don't understand that process. Right. They don't understand how to create poems. They don't understand what FISMA is when it comes to understanding moderate, high, low, the impact of things. So just make sure you understand those things. And then also too, later on, once you get your company, they can pay for it, get your master's, get your bachelor's, because that helps you get more money. If I didn't have I'm a Security Plus, I'm making actually some good money. But if I didn't have my master's, then they won't be able to justify it. So, yeah. And then also too, find a company that can sponsor your clearance, secret, top secret. There's companies that sponsor it. So just apply to security guard, or sometimes if you've got experience, just apply directly. But those are different things if you want to get into the RMF space, because they're completely different things sometimes.
Oh, for sure. And I like the mention of security guard. That's one of the easiest ways to get yourself to have a clearance that's sponsored, especially top secret. When you have a top secret clearance, a lot more opportunities, better pay. Yes, you may have to be on site, but you choose, right?
Yeah, or just be a janitor. You're not wrong being
be a janitor. Listen, sometimes you have to sacrifice, put your pride aside, and do what you have to do to get into the space that you want to get into.
Yeah, you gotta sacrifice. I was a background investigator. I do like the job because the job helped me.
Let's talk more about that.
Okay, yeah. So I was a background investigator. So when in the government space, when you're a background investigator, you're looking up people's clearances and things like that. So I used to always be in people's houses. You know what I'm saying? There's one guy in particular. I was like, I'm looking for so and so. I was in the drive. He was in the driveway. He said, "She not there." I was like, "Huh?" So then I had called her and knocked on the door. She said, "Right." I said, "Your guy in the front says you're not there." I was like, she just don't know, because the lady I was talking about worked for the CIA and she, understand.
Oh, okay.
And then, or one time I was a background investigator. I was sitting in somebody's parking lot and I was like, "I need to talk to you." And she's like, "Who are you? Who is this?" So I went in there, interviewed her, right? And then I was just sitting in the car making up my notes. She said, "You need to leave my property." I was like, "Shorty, I showed you a badge and everything."
And these were people that actually needed the clearance?
Yeah. So basically, when you're going through you got to fill out your equip. Mm-hmm. So when you fill out your equip, to get the government, you have to go. Mainly for secret is easier, but for the top secret, they have to go through your whole background.
Like the last 10 years,
Yeah,
right?
10 years, verify your jobs, all that stuff. So you know how it is.
So how awkward is it reaching out to the people that they like, the references or the personal references that the individual puts down? Like, do you get a lot of people who just don't answer when you call? You can't even go meet up with them to get that portion complete?
Yeah, so I would call I say after the first one, you gotta have your, you have your email. They'd be like, oh yeah, he's probably a scammer.
It's easy to think that.
And then the second one, they'd be like, okay. And then the last, but some of them know it's coming.
And as they should, the person should be telling them like, hey, I put you down, like be available. Like even the neighbor, be available.
You better be available. Like even with you, when you go into your background, were you nervous?
Always.
Like imagine.
And I've done multiple, but I got a lot of information about.
Because they be questioning about everything. Have you ever did drugs?
Oh
yeah, I think majority of people done it. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay.
When was the last time you traveled? It asks things about your financial background, and they're gonna find out everything.
Yeah, don't go to China.
Don't. There could be some red flags there.
Yeah, don't go to China. But I appreciate you asking that. Yeah.
Of course, I think the people need to know more about you.
Nah,
Chris.
thank you. Nah, chime in. If you have something, chime in, Mark. You helping a brother out.
Of course.
So we both work in RMF, GRC, whatever. Whatever. It can be different things. Or they can come up different positions now.
Yeah, and I think also too, I think it's important to talk about. Just because you are in the RMF space or the GRC space, you may not be doing all of the fundamentals in GRC. You may just be focusing on the policies. You may be the one that's participating in all of the audits, or you may be the one that has to stand up the information security program, right? At the end of the day, it's different disciplines. You have to see which one is the most aligned with what you want to do. And I will be honest, I think that compliance is one of the easier ones to get into, especially when we're talking about policy writing.
Yeah, because I'm working with, working in compliance. So, the main thing you're kind of doing is continuous monitoring.
Yeah.
So, like, even with me, I've been realizing, too, in the private sector, like, there's so many different positions.
So many. I love the private sector.
Yeah, it's like so many. They got and two, and also can you kind of, and this is for me, I'm kind of have a question too. Like in the private sector, like for example, like or do you deal with controls? Do you deal with controls and do you deal with POAMs? Do you still deal with POAMs? Okay.
So we may not call it POAMs, but we definitely are making sure that we're monitoring what our vulnerabilities are, what findings we have, what gaps we still need to close. And then in addition to that, it just depends on the company that you work with. Some of them do want you to stand up in SSP. Some don't, but you still have to have controls in place because you're always getting audited. No matter what, every company will be audited eventually.
Thanks.
And I think that's actually something we should delve a little bit more into. Maybe not this podcast, maybe another.
In the future.
But being an entrepreneur, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't have IT or security within their companies.
That's a good topic because, like, even me, I've been kind of wondering because even like in the tech startup space, nobody talks about cybersecurity.
Nobody talks about it.
So I'm like, is it automatically done? Because I think like,
it's not.
Have you heard of Bubble?
Bubble what?
Bubble is like a no-code software builder. So it's like it'll say SOC 2 compliant, but that's the only one I've seen. When I first got into tech, I was green. I was lost in the details, unsure of it all. Then one day I had my woke moment and everything clicked. The pieces came together and things just got better. The moment of clarity inspired me to create Tech Woke clothing. For those that have had the same awakening, this is for the tech community that's woke to what's next. Step into the future with cutting edge designs, smart fabrics, and fashion that evolves with you, bold and intelligent, sustainable, and get your merch. Join the Tech Woke movement. Wear the future. Shop now at shoptechwoke.com. Thank you. MarKeisha, how I experienced when I first got into this field of RMF, GRC, from my experience, when I first got in, I thought it was like super technical. You're going to do this, do that, and confuse brother. Can you explain to me? And we're going to just talk about it. So I think RMF or GRC is a technical position. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay, why do you think that?
I think it's a technical position because you got to know technical stuff.
Okay.
You got to know what on-prem is. You got to know what the cloud is. You got to know how to articulate that to other people. And I know some people, they don't say it's a technical position, But how do you feel on that? I mean, this is how I feel. I just feel from me saying that, I just think it's a technical position.
Yeah, and I think this was brought up by somebody in the comments on our last podcast, because I had said it's not super technical. Because it's not super technical.
It's not.
Like, yes, at the end of the day, if you are doing anything in the tech space, in the cybersecurity space, you do need to have the fundamentals of tech. So yes, you should understand how a computer works. You should be able to put a computer together and take it apart. You should understand the foundations of networks. You should understand a firewall. And these are basic things you should understand anyways, because you have all those things in your house, right? Your house is an environment in itself. So I think that's where that technical language or understanding comes from. But I do think beyond that, you don't have to be super technical. And I think when people are very like new to tech, they think when we say technical, we think, or we're saying coding, but that's not the only thing that's technical in tech. There's things beyond that, right? And so I think if you understand the fundamentals of technology, I think that you'll be great in this particular role.
So MarKeisha, so I've been working in this field. When I first got in the field, I didn't know there was so many areas with GRC, RMF, things like that. I was a confused puppy, and I was confused. I didn't know. Even more recently, I learned so many. You got banking, you got this, you got that.
Different industries.
Yeah. What are, can we want to talk about, what are some of the domains in this space?
So when you say domains, you mean like industries?
Industries, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
industries.
Absolutely. No, you're good.
Yeah.
So we always talk about like the federal side and then the private side. And as you know, I'm in the private space. I have worked in the federal space, and I did that for a while as a federal employee and then also as a contractor. Not saying I didn't like it, but I do like the I do like the private side a lot more. Just because of how fast you can move. But different industries, there's so many. There's healthcare, there's finance and banking, there's energy, there's retail. For people who like the luxury side of things, many people may not know, but you can do luxury tech.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You can go work for Chanel. I mean, every company needs...
Bougie.
And you can get some nice perks, some nice discounts. So why not go that route? But there's so many different industries you can work in the tech field.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that you got banking, you got government, you got retail, you got international. So so many different routes that you can go.
Cannabis is a good one too.
Yeah, cannabis
I don't think
too.
people talk a lot about that. But there's a lot of money in cannabis. There's also a lot of money in auto.
Yeah. Hey, and auto, they don't secure anything over there.
I'm telling you.
They don't even know.
How many people can break into your car?
Yeah, even this industry, and like we talked about, like a lot of startups, entrepreneurs, we don't even do that compliance for they.
I know. It's the last thing we think about, and I think it's because, especially if you're like an entrepreneur that's in tech and maybe your business is in something else, you're always working within the space that the amount of work that goes into even securing an environment. So it's something that you may not want to tackle, or you may not just want to pay for it.
Yeah, because I'm an entrepreneur. We both are. So even I've been noticing, I changed my passwords a lot for my banking account, and I've been noticing more people. Like even the other day, somebody keep trying to get into my account. It's been happening more and more recently.
Well, who do you bank with?
I bank with Andrews.
So Andrews,
Andrews, Federal Credit Union. So I've been noticing. I'm like, 'cause I keep getting a notice. I'm like,
that's
why
crazy.
they keep trying to hit it?
Notified them?
You're right. I need to call them because I just kept changing the passwords. Actually, I need to call them because I keep seeing it every now and then. I don't know what to do.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I'm
shouldn't
like,
be happening.
I'm like, what's going on? But I'm like, yeah. Or you get more of these phishing type stuff. Like even they try to steal the YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
To the hackers that are on my YouTube, that is not my YouTube email. That is not it. So stop using it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
I understand what this is going on. I don't pass the phishing test of these jobs. You know how people fail.
Oh, you failed.
I don't fail that joint. No, I don't fail that joint.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I failed a couple times, but I got it together.
You got it together.
I am never.
Did you get that notification? Like you
I did. And then they report you to your manager.
Like, girl,
then your manager's manager.
Like, you secure us. So MarKeisha, there's different frameworks. I know for the RMF space, you got NIST 800, you got FISMA. I can talk about all these documents. Even with AI, they got a new AI framework that I looked into it. It's not a fundamental thing we use yet. It's still kind of like it's just a standard right now.
You looked into it from like the NIST.
Yeah, the NIST portion.
The NIST does. I think they're like on what, version 2
now? Yeah. So they doing that. Like in the private sector space, like, can you explain to me? And this is for my knowledge to make sure I know, like. And just to let you know all this, I'm always learning. I ain't the best. I've never been the best.
Always learning.
Always learning. Hey, Google's my best friend. I love Google.
And ChatGPT.
I love it.
And Grok.
Yeah, just don't use DeepSeek.
Yeah, don't use DeepSeek.
Well,
I've used them, but you can't put personal stuff in there because just so you know, like their servers are in China.
Yeah.
So
you selling it,
And that's something that we talk about too in cyber about. Where is your data going? And one of the things that is a red flag is when your data is stored outside of the United States. That's really big for people within the space. Is that something you deal with a lot?
Yeah. So like, even I've been going to, Cyber Scoop. I went to Cyber Scoop in the government space. They talk about DeepSeek. They talk about these things that's going on. I'm going to a different conferences, and this is what they talk about in the government space. Like the data, we don't know where the data is going. We're just sending it. It's just going to the World Wide Web.
This is specific for DeepSeek.
DeepSeek. Right? Same thing with ChatGPT. We don't really know where it's going.
Is the government talking more about DeepSeek just because it's China-based? Or are they also having conversations about Claude and ChatGPT?
Yeah, all of that.
Okay.
They're just like, okay, like, where's our data going to? And then to be honest with you, it's gone. It's going. So if you put it, like, even like in the government space, they have a Nipper GPT. Mm-hmm. Even with that, like, it doesn't have that much data, so it's kind of clunky now. You know what I'm saying? So even with that, like,
go figure. It's the government.
It's the government. It's good for certain emails.
So, I mean, the whole idea is to train these models, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're not having people that's putting enough information in it, then it's not going to spit out stuff that you really want, right? And that's another thing too. I think the government just moves so slow. And when we're talking about who's training these models, what is like, who are the people behind it? What is the age group? What's the generation that's training that?
Young people.
Well, they should be training it better.
Yeah, they should train it a lot more better. Because even with me, I've been training my own GPTs.
Me too.
And you know how it is. You got to train it the right way.
It takes time to train it.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken me, I want to say, like 5 months to train my ChatGPT to be what I want it to be. And you do have to prompt it. You have to tell it, like, you want it to have this persona. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They just think that they're supposed to put whatever questions they have in there, and then it's going to spit something out that's perfect for them. And that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah, even for me, like when I do podcasts and I use it, so I send it my transcripts of my videos. And I say, just pretend you're Chris. And I'm literally teaching it to be Chris so that when I send it something, you'll be like, oh, there's that Chris said it. It technically I said it. Yeah, it's my personality.
It's your personality.
So you just got to be better with training these things. Back to the framework. So like, so in the private sector space, they use GDPR for international.
Yeah, so they have the same frameworks. It's just not like everything specific to that. So there's SOX, there's GDPR, there's PCI, there's ISO, there's SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. I said ISO. Yeah,
ISO 2 is it 2700?
ISO 27001 and ISO 97 something. So there's definitely different ones out there, but it's going to be dependent more on your environment. So you always have to do a risk assessment of your environment to know exactly what you should be focused on.
Okay. So we're going to talk about this because like we're going to describe like some kind of like how you work in the field, and I think we talked about it on the last podcast. Mm-hmm. Like for me, when I first got in the field, everybody all over the place. I don't know what's going on. This is not my comfort zone. Like I told the audience.
What do you mean everybody's all over the place?
All, like for example, when I first got in, and keep in mind I'm new, so I tell this story a lot to people. I'd be like, okay, I was on an email, and I was like, I keep getting these ACAS scans, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. It says Cat 1, Cat 1, Cat 1, Cat 1. I was like, okay, this looks bad. I was like, because I think 3 weeks passed. And I was like, finally asked somebody, so like, who deals with this? They're like, you? I was like, dang.
What? They didn't even tell you.
Yeah. And then, like, for example, like, you know, even with the POCs, I didn't know I think I went to one POC. It was a certain administrator. I ain't gonna say which one. And I was like, hey, you're the person that's in charge of this system. He's like, no, I'm not. I was like, okay. So I went to the PM. I said, who's in charge of this system again? He's like, him. And I was like, what are you lying for, bro? or MarKeisha, like, even when dealing with system administrators, dealing with certain people, you'd be like, oh, ain't you supposed to get this system done or something? Or basically you're supposed to read this vulnerability or do this. And they always hit you with the, or if you need documentation, they hit you, mainly documentation, they always hit you with the, I don't know what you're talking. I'm like, bro, you make 200K, you don't know what I'm talking about?
So that was my issue working in the government.
Yeah.
I found that a lot. Like, and nothing was ever being done. The system, like the packages was just so horribly written, and it had been going on for like, what, 5-10 years before you even got there. And now you're inheriting just very crappy packages. I hated that.
Yeah, and then it's stressful because you got to fix it. That hasn't been done in 20 years.
But how do you fix something when you're being assigned, you're just starting and you're being assigned 5 or 10 systems?
Yeah, and that's the thing. They give you 3-4 systems. I will say now, there are, in the government space specifically, I'm not sure about the private sector. They have been slowing down, giving people 1, maybe 2 systems.
I keep hearing about that.
Yeah.
When I was in the government space, I started off with 12 systems. Oh, okay. And they were all garbage.
MarKeisha, you still got, you know, I'm losing my hair. So you still have your hair.
Gray hair.
I see you got gray hairs.
But I was born with gray hair. Okay. So, but there's a lot more.
Okay. Well, hey, I need to get mine.
It's stressing. It's stressful.
So in general, people, it's a stressful job.
Yeah, I don't think it's like the easiest thing.
Because I don't have kids, right? I'm trying to have kids. I'm gonna find the right one soon.
Nice. How many children do you want?
I want as many as the Lord bless me with.
Okay.
And if you give me some money too, you know.
Right, because children are very expensive.
What are they, like 6?
What are they? They said it was like 800. Was it 800,000?
800,000
for 18 years.
Well, how do people in the hood having kids? Hey, they making it. Hey, the people in the hood. Hey, I respect y'all, man. Y'all making about for 20,000 a year, 30,000 a year, man. Listen, I need to know what's going on, you know. But let me tell you something. Some of the things I have eaten, like, you know, when you struggle, you struggle. Like, what I ate. The worst thing I ever ate. Don't judge me.
Okay, I don't judge.
A little bit. It's okay. You gonna judge me a little bit.
Okay.
I ate a ketchup sandwich.
A ketchup sandwich?
Yes, ketchup sandwich.
Wow.
I ate a ketchup and I ate a mustard sandwich.
Dang.
So that's a struggle.
That is a struggle
That's a struggle meal right there. And then like noodles. But I mean, things happen. I don't even know why I did it. I didn't have to do it. I just ate it just to eat it. But again, there's people, I've been in houses when they didn't have nothing in the refrigerator, literally.
Yeah, what's the thing I heard, like, people would put, like, is it sugar on bread?
Yeah.
That was a thing, too, growing up in
sugar,
the hood?
No, I don't think that. No, noodles is a lot.
Noodles is a thing, and noodles is like a college thing, too.
Yeah, peanut butter. But other than that, you need to make some weird spam. I know spam's a good one.
Spam was a thing. I never ate spam.
Yeah, so, hey.
Bologna was a thing.
Yeah.
Is that still around?
I ain't eating no, I'm bougie now. I ain't eating no bologna. I don't want to taste it. I remember the taste now. Why are you bringing that back to me,
Bologna, sardines in a can, Vienna sausages.
Vienna, oh yeah. Oh,
now
man.
that's what
hot sausage too.
I never had the hot sausage.
Yeah, the hot sausage too. I love those. Actually, I gotta get one. But you know, I don't. Hey, listen. If people are living on 800 a kid,
I think it's 800,000 over 18 years is what they said.
18? Nah.
Am I lying?
It gotta be at least 1 million.
Or is it 300?
300? It's probably more. Like a baby? I don't know.
No, children are expensive. You know how many diapers they go through? Well, I don't know. But I can imagine.
You're gonna have kids soon.
Maybe.
You don't want no kids?
I don't know.
One?
I love my freedom right now.
Okay.
And I'm so business focused. Like, I'm trying to really build up something before I have children.
You're going to have a kid. You're probably going to have a son.
Probably at like 45.
Okay. You got to freeze those eggs.
I know, right? If I want to have kids. Yeah. And a son, yes. I actually would prefer to have a son over a daughter to start.
Okay. So back to this GRC space, GRC RMF space. Can you also tell me, like, like when I first got in the field, I was only making like, and I say only, I'm sorry, audience. This is the DMV.
I was only, and I
Only.
started off
Yeah,
90,000.
75K.
Okay, that's a good amount of money.
What is realistic? Because people, when they try to get into cybersecurity, they think they're going to make like 200, 300,
Okay.
400.
Who the heck is thinking that?
Seriously, I talk to people that's new, and they be like, "I want 100K," or they try to negotiate. I said, "What do you negotiate? You don't have no work room."
No, I
You
think
don't
they
think
should
so?
negotiate.
So you think they should ask for 100K?
You should always negotiate because
Okay.
the worst thing you can hear somebody say is no.
Or they can be like, "Well,"
They can rescind
or
it.
or ignore it. Because I talked to a friend of mine. She was like, "I asked for like 200 or something like that."
Well, how much was the starting point?
I don't even know.
Because if the starting point's like 120,000 and you're asking for 200,000.
I think it was like 120. They gave her 120.
Okay,
But then
well,
she'd say I wanted more, and
okay,
then
that's
they
crazy.
disappeared on her.
Please do not jump that far.
Yeah,
But I'd say entry level, again, depending on where you're located, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. Sometimes you can even get 90,000. So we'll say the range is 60 to 90,000. You can come in entry level, and then mid, like somebody that's like in a mid-level position, I'd say maybe 90,000 to 130,000. Pretty good. And then somebody in a senior position, you could be at 130,000 to about 210,000. Again, it depends on what company you're at. And these ranges they're wide because it just depends on the company and how much money they have. And it also depends on what you bring to the table and where you're located.
that's some good money either way. That's like generational change.
I'm
in
telling
money.
you.
And for me, I always was trying to be an athlete growing up, and I'm like, okay.
What sports did you play?
I tried football, wasn't that good. And I wish I stuck to basketball. I think I would have been better at basketball. And I thought, and like growing up where I grew up, I thought that was the only way to make money.
Okay.
So,
and that's fair.
And technically, we make more than some athletes.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's nothing wrong with getting this thing.
And I think it's also, it could be too less about what you make and how and what you do with that money. I think we've spoken about this a few different times amongst different groups. You know, a lot of people, they'll get the money and then they'll splurge. They'll end up spending it all. But, you know, you could be making $50,000 and you could flip that so many different ways. There's that janitor who did that, who's a millionaire, able to retire.
I read that story.
Right. I love that story because people always talk about, oh, you can't make that happen. Yes, you can. You just don't have great habits. Just admit that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you and me, I was making like 60, 70K, and I would blow all that. I ain't gonna lie. Imagine me, I'm a 25-year-old kid making, that's a lot of money.
Right, it's a lot of money.
I would go to the, at the time, I would go to the different bars, spending money. I would just spend money just to spend money and tricking. But then I was like, the girl I was dating at the time, so we literally sat down. I was like, dang, I spent $500 on food.
See, when you actually, and that's the importance of budgeting. I think a lot of people don't want to budget. I know at one point I was scared to see what I was spending, my habits. But if you want to be wealthy, you have to sit down and come to terms with the fact that you need to know how you're spending your money.
And that's what we're going to do in the future. I do want to do more financial stuff for people so they can, like, you get the money. We know people that's making 500, 600K.
But what is nothing because they're just living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, because like even you know, we have a mutual friend. She's so good at saving her money. She can be like, okay, I'm going this trip. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why that's what we need to get at in this STEM space. Like we just can't just throwing all your money at every conferences. Especially when people, for the audience, if you're getting in this space, remember, save your money. Save
your money. I know it's easier said than done. So if you're ever getting into the space and you're brand new, definitely reach out to people who can really help and advise you.
Yeah, and then also too, so we're going to go into the industries. I think that RMF or the government space is the easiest to get into when you get into the GRC space.
Why do you say that?
And I say that because once you get the clearance, once you get the Security Plus, once you
get a clearance,
you right. Yeah, you right. Okay, I take that back.
That's fine.
I take that back.
We're working through it.
Yeah, because like it's if you get a clearance, but if you can get your clearance, if you can get everything, then I think it's the easiest space in to get money once you in it. But What's your thoughts? What you think? What is your thoughts and why?
So, I mean, I think that when you have a government clearance, it makes things a lot easier to get into, right? Because companies will just hire you sometimes just because you have the clearance. They're like, okay, you'll just figure it out, you'll learn. And that's great. So that is definitely a perk to having a security clearance, whether it's whether it's a secret, whether it's a top secret, a poly, things like that. I think it's great. But I think in general, getting into the GRC realm is a lot easier, even if you're on the federal side or the private side. So I think it's both.
It's just both. Okay, so it's both. So you can have a chance. Do you think people can get it? Because I've been working with people lately. I've met some people, and they're getting in the field with no experience. I mean, do you think it's hard, or do you think you got to go the IT route from your perspective from coaching people?
Getting into GRC?
Yeah. So some people go to IT because people online too are.
You can go straight to GRC.
Okay.
If you know how to write a policy, if you know how to communicate well, if you have that skill set, if you understand frameworks, fundamentals, you can go the GRC route like immediately. Okay.
Yeah, so because that's what I tell people too. Because I'm like, and if you create projects and like even those projects that you do you put that on your resume or what?
You can put projects on your resume. Now let's talk about how you go about putting the project on your resume. So you can put it into your experience section if you don't if you're currently not working, or you can put it into your education section. But you have to be very detailed or specific about what that project is and how you were, what problem you were able to solve. And then in addition to that, I think that you should be linking stuff, right? So if you have a portfolio, go on GitHub, create your portfolio so you can show your work.
Oh, that's amazing. I learned a lot just off of that. So, okay. Miss Professional.
I try. No, it just comes with experience. So, I do the GRC, I do security architecture, and then I also do Gen AI.
Oh, you're doing Gen? Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm not specifically working with training the actual models. I train my own, right? But when it comes to the work that I do at work, I'm more so just making sure that we understand the security implications around the particular feature. A lot of companies now, they're adding the AI feature, and people are thinking they can just turn it on and not communicate with risk and the compliance side and security. But you still do have to bring it to our attention because we need to understand what data is going in there. We need to make sure that we're able to, do scans on it, that we're able to pick up on when you are trying to upload certain things, attach files. It is important that we understand all of that you're doing. And of course, I'm always seen as this is the big bad wolf is coming. That's what they think about security.
Yes, they do.
Well, think what you want.
That's our job.
Because when you get breached and your company can't pay it, you're out of a job.
Yeah.
So
you're on the news, and they laughing at you.
I'm telling you.
Everybody laughing at you.
They're walking away, right? They're walking away with a lot of money. And then you're without a job. So it's important that we actually do these things. So the Gen AI has been really, really fun. I'm actually going to work on standing up the entire program.
I love that.
Yeah, I really want to move into the AI space.
Yeah, because we have to, because we need to get better in that space, and it's going to happen. No matter what, MarKeisha, it's coming. And I like that you already adapted to that. Now, you're more marketable now,
I am, definitely. When I'm speaking to my clients, I think that it's really important they focus on what's next. At a certain time, maybe 5 years ago, cloud was in. Now then Web3 came a thing.
Yeah, Web3.
Blockchain.
They forgot about Web3. Everybody forgot about it.
Like the Web3?
They was like, oh, this is the next thing. Then everybody forgot the Web3 websites.
What happened to that?
Hey, good question.
Now it's AI and quantum.
I love quantum.
You better get on top of it.
I love quantum. I'll just be studying that. I'd be like, because the biggest issue with quantum computers that I've noticed is how are we going to cool it? So it's either going to put it in the ocean or put it into space.
Right.
So it's once they figure that out, either way can damage the environment. Once they figure that out, it's crazy. But it's good with GRC, RMF, they still need to have frameworks over it. So we're still going to have a job.
We're always going to have jobs. And that's why getting into GRC space is important, because you're always going to need compliance. No matter what, you have to abide by guidelines and rules.
So with being in a GRC, being an RMF phase, we have to always be on top of things. For me, this is how I'm always on top of things. I'm always on Cyber Scoop website. I have this new podcast it's not my podcast. I watched this podcast. It's called Cyberwire. It's so interesting. I'll be listening to it. Yeah, it gave me all the vulnerabilities, things like that. And you always got to be in this field. You always have to have knowledge.
I was just say, let's talk about that, because I think people think once they get into the field, they don't have to learn.
You have to learn.
And that's why we say being in tech is not easy, because it's one of those fields that's always demanding you to learn something new. Like if you're working in, and I'm not going to, try to diss anybody, but let's say you're working in retail, you're not really having to learn as much as being compared to tech, because there's always new attacks. There's always these scammers, these hackers. There's always vulnerabilities out there.
Yeah, because they'll just retail, but it can be unskilled labor, so they pay you more when you learn a skill.
When you learn the skill. So definitely don't think that you're getting into the tech space, into GRC, and you're just coasting.
I'm learning every day. A good friend of mine, Leslie Mariba, he always sending me stuff. I'm always sending him stuff. Even Act Sage. Act Sage is going to dominate the government space soon, especially helping out with RMF. I'm always into it. Even a CP, it's something with continuous monitoring in this. They're trying to roll out in the government space. But talk to me about some of the how will we stay updated, especially in the GRC RMF space.
Yeah, I mean, CISA is one of them, right?
Oh, see, I love CISA.
They're always posting things. I think too, going back to what you said about podcasts, you should always be listening to different podcasts that are out there. You should always be reading different articles, news articles that are out there. Even for my newsletter that I do on Substack, we really try to focus on, from time to time, giving news about things happening in the tech space. And to be honest, Twitter is another one. I know it goes by X. I still call it Twitter.
Twitter's good.
But you'll know a lot of things happening from Elon Musk alone. So definitely, if you don't have an X account, get on there too. But you need to make sure you're following the right things and the right people. What does your news feed look like? If it's garbage, then it says a lot about you, right? And so if you want to get into the space and you want to learn more and you want to be consistently growing, edit those things and try to find, seek out those things. There was a time when we actually used to read newspapers, right? That used to give us the information we needed, the business, the stocks, the markets. It's the same thing. You have to seek out the right things so you can get the right things to come to you.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. For me, I used to watch all these pages about money, and in the tech industry, and I'm like, okay, what is the knowledge? Even with conferences now, I recommend audience go to conferences. I go to conferences now. It's more like a party.
Yeah, like a mixer.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's what mixers are.
So what are we learning? I went to GovTech and I actually learned.
I learned too.
Yeah.
And I actually got to meet people who had a vision, right? They had a strategy when they went there. That's why I'm very strategic about the people I'm around, the spaces I'm in, because I found myself 2 years ago just wasting all of my time, just popping up here and there because I was following people who were going to these events and hey, you should show up too. But if I'm not getting anything out of it, I don't want to be in those spaces.
I don't go. Everybody keep talking about these mixers. I'm like, I am not going to these mixers. Yeah. And I appreciate you. So that knows that if we close, that means you value me as a person.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
And even the event that you had recently, that was intentional. The goal was to network intentionally and to also talk about topics that we're not really talking about like we should be, right? I think a lot of people are focused on the wrong things. The world is changing. The economy is taking a downturn right now, right? And so we need to talk about those things. Why are we so scared to be in those spaces? We should not be in the spaces of just partying. Now, don't get me wrong. Mixers do serve a purpose because they do get people loose. And some people don't have the confidence to network without drinking or something like that, right? And that's fine. It's just we're saying that should not be your goal, is to be at every single mixer. Your goal, or your goal should not be to be at conferences that are consistently party, especially if you're trying to move up in a space and to be respected in a space.
Yeah, because at certain conferences that people that don't look at like us, they're on there trying to take care of business, you know? So they in that joint learning, networking. I've been to so many conferences and there's very few people I've networked with, like,
Yeah,
you
or
know,
that
build
anything
connection.
has actually came out of it.
Yeah, like what's coming out of it?
And that's another reason why, I have another business of mine about to launch called Socialite Season. And it's a membership organization, and we focus on in being intentional networking. So, we're focused on people that actually want to do business deals. We're focused on people who want to give back and who want to teach people. We're focused on being around people within the community who actually care about helping other people to level up. You need to be in those spaces, because if you're not, you'll find yourself just wasting time.
Yeah, and I like that. Like even with me, I create small groups. You know, I created a group. What is it called? Blacks in Science.
Yes.
I'm working on an entrepreneurship group that we started. So you got to make sure you bring people that has the right mind, really intentional. Because I don't. The one thing I like about hanging with you and other people, you don't say nothing negative.
Yeah,
You know, you know how people. Well, you know, we every now and then we do.
Every now and then we'll.
but again, you correct it.
Oh,
you know
for
what I'm
sure,
saying?
yeah.
Like, cause like you got to be around people that want to get you to go. Like even my boy, I brought him on a podcast, Mr. Osaji. He's one of my best friends, Osasu Osaji. We sat like when we was studying for our security plus, we was calling each other every day. Like when it was in Bowie State doing our senior seminar. Hey, bro, you call these people for the paper. You call it. So you got to make sure you have people like that in your life.
Yeah, that's really important. I think people need to really evaluate their circles from time to time.
Yeah.
If you have people around you that are not, speaking about you in different rooms, that are trying to put you on, that are trying to see you, succeed, then what are those relationships really for? And sometimes you do just have the relationships with the people that you go to parties with, people that you can just travel with, right? And I have some of those relationships, but my tight circle are the ones that are actually want to see me succeed. And I do like how you're always intentional. That is one thing about you, Chris, is that you always lead with intention, and you don't find that with a lot of people.
Yeah, you know me, I'm direct. I'm very direct. I'll be like, I tell you, I'm very, me, I'll be on the
But
call
you're
with
so
you.
nice.
Yeah. Well, good.
You're not a Trump direct.
Yeah, I'd be like, that Trump is a
Trump just says whatever he wants to say.
I'm getting to the point where I'm saying whatever, but
listen, and I appreciate people like that too.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a time and a place, and some people are so sensitive that they get very offended by those things. But it's good when you speak your mind.
Yeah, because it shows me that, for me, I like that people that speak their mind, because it just shows me you're not fake. You're not afraid to go against the grain. I'm like, oh, you different. Nah, yeah, I like that. Now that's why I like people but hey, it can be a double-edged sword too, because when it's about you, it's gonna be like, hey, trust me, I've been in those situations. Like, Chris, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, you just gotta be. Hey, that's what you asked for, Chris. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you wanted. So
yeah, so
that's funny.
MarKeisha, okay, so we're gonna talk about some of the things that you're doing now. I'm not doing too much now. But for the podcast,
what do you mean you're not doing too much?
For the podcast, we're gonna do some live podcasts and live shows later in the year. So make sure y'all stand out for that, because I'm doing like we're
that's fun.
Yeah, and you're gonna be on one of those once we get it settled.
Live podcasts. Like, will people be able to I know tune in from remote, but be in person?
It's gonna be in person. You can sit down. You can actually talk. It's gonna be like in a situation you can come ask questions. It's gonna be different. You know what me?
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
so nobody steal the idea, okay?
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
And if you steal it, we know where it came from first.
I'm gonna watch. I got these big eyes. I stare. So I'm be like, you're gonna see this. You know what I'm saying? MarKeisha, so tell me about. So I know you're rebranding. This is exclusive, right?
This is very exclusive. Nobody really knows. We will be soft launching though, so people will find out. But yeah, we're rebranding.
Your coaching business, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell the audience about it.
My coaching business. So I'm actually going to be changing up what people think about my coaching business or my career services business, because we've always targeted individuals and the corporate side, but I think a lot of the time it has always focused on the individual side of the house, right? And that's because I am the face of the business, but I'm looking to change that. Because at the end of the day, we do have two sides, and we definitely need to build out our B2B side a little bit more. So as you all know, You Deserve IT Consulting, that's been around for 5 years now, a little over 5 years now. And we are changing the name. We are changing everything, colors, new website. We have a new team. I'm super, super excited. But the new name, wait, should I not say the new name?
Say your name. Say it with your chest.
Like, okay.
Say it with your chest.
The new name is Sire. Now, the spelling of it is Xire. So depending on the region that you're from, you may pronounce it as Zaire, which is not incorrect, but we will go by Sire. And super excited for it because it's all about evolution. It's all about leadership. It's all about controlling the narrative. We're here to help brand people. We're here to put people in the right place within those companies. And we're just super excited to continue what we've been doing, which is helping individuals navigate the space, navigate the market. But in addition to that, we do staffing, we do corporate personal branding and development. We do all of those things, but I don't think people know that as much as they do the individual side. So I'm very excited for what is to come.
I am very excited too. I like that you're rebranding. And also I know maybe people know you as the brand.
They do.
So now I think it's going more, it's a brand. And
yeah,
you're the CEO. You're being the CEO. Exactly. You're going to let things be handled.
Exactly. I'm a business owner, right? I'm not self-employed. So I actually have a team that I run. And, you know, when you call up Amazon, you can't expect to speak to Jeff Bezos, right? So it's the same thing. I'm trying to position myself that when you think about the company, you're not just thinking about the person behind it, but you're thinking about what it can do for you.
And that's one thing I noticed, MarKeisha, with people that don't look like us. They have processes and things, and you can't talk to the owner sometimes. It's rare to talk to them.
Most times you can't. And if you want to, it's a huge penny. It's $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 just to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because they're so spread thin.
Go try to talk to Grant Cardone. That's 100 bands.
I'm telling you, and he has you in a group. I've met that guy. He has you in a group. He has a team.
Yeah, but I love that you're doing this business. What can the people expect? Are you going more to B2B or are you B2C?
No, so I'm still going to have the B2C, but we're still going to really be pushing for B2B. We have staffing contracts now, and there's opportunities I've had where, you know, I've gone into corporate companies and I've trained their staff to really work on their personal branding, because I do think individual branding is important, but you are a reflection of the company you work for. So we really try to push to corporate companies that you should really be giving to your employees as much as you give to yourself. So it's about being able to put your employees in a position to where they want to talk about the company. They're proud of the company that they work for, but it's hard for them to do that if you aren't, you know, really treating them well, or you aren't allowing them to be themselves along with presenting the brand. So we do things like that. But again, a lot of people don't know. We've also had clients come to us and say, hey, I've had this business for X amount of years, and, you know, I am a self-employed individual, but I'm looking to get into government contracting, or I'm looking to go after contracts or to grow my team. How can I go about doing that? Because I haven't been able to make money. We help with that as well. So again, a lot of people have just known the business as, oh, we help you get into tech. And that's great, but we do a lot more than that.
Okay, so I didn't even know those portions. So it's educated with me, like building, and that's what I'm going to hit later on in the year is personal branding, because personal branding gets you paid. It's no more applying for jobs no more.
Right.
Yeah, it's like either because like, you know, even like you can create some content now, then a business can be like, oh, I just want to, you know, I think, you know, even cooking, like you can cook. And then somebody can be like, oh, snap. Like, oh, I'm about to go reach out to them because of your brand.
Exactly. I think a lot of people don't realize that at the end of the day, they too should be their own personal, like they should have their own personal brand. You are a person outside of the company you work for, right? So why are you not putting that at the forefront? Why when I go to your LinkedIn, am I only hearing about the company that you work for? I see nothing about you personally. That's a problem. At some conferences we've heard people talk about it who's in the space about how they do content creation. It's the same thing. You want to get out there and you want people to know the ability of yourself outside of just being in tech and being in cyber, right? And so it's super important. We have an ebook coming soon after the rebrand finalizes. So I'm excited about that. And it's all about personal branding.
I love that. And even when I'm gonna just use myself as an example, originally when I grew tech woke, I didn't want to be on the camera. Like I wanted to grow it to a point where I can get somebody else on the camera so I can be behind the scenes.
Okay.
Because I wanted to create a media company. So that's why I geared it towards the whole time. You probably didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
These are great things we want to hear.
Yeah. So even talking to MarKeisha, she's like, Chris, talk about yourself. So I'm talking about myself. I have a cat. I like to travel. I like to do things. So now, even posting on LinkedIn now, I'm posting my experiences and everything, and I get so many DMs.
People are eating that up.
Yeah.
I see all the likes. I see all the reposts. See, if you don't talk about yourself, people don't know who you are.
Yeah, and you got to know because people don't know I play football. People don't know this. People don't know I went to HBCU. So, and I appreciate you, MarKeisha, just letting me know as a friend, just like, hey, bro, you need to get more talk. And even through the podcast, y'all probably found out some more stuff. And I'm being more vulnerable. So you have to build a brand in any business. And talk about more than tech.
You have to be vulnerable. Think about like all the people on TikTok who are super, super vulnerable. They show up, they don't have makeup, they may have bad skin, or they do their hair in the morning. They're showing you how they brush their teeth. They're showing you how they're cleaning their dirty house. But those are the people that's getting the most likes because people want to see you in a vulnerable state because they too are vulnerable.
Yeah, like even when I was filming original, I used to film on an iPhone. Sometimes some of those
iPhone is good.
Some of those views did better than the actual ones we do.
Telling you. But it's funny that you say this because like with the podcast I've been wanting to do, I've been talking to you about it. I've been the blockage there because I'm so caught up in my head about I gotta look a certain way. I gotta make sure my hair is done. You know what? I'm at the point where I'm just like whatever. I don't really care anymore. You either like me for me or you don't like me at all, and that's fine too because most people don't like me.
Yeah, it's okay. Even me, I'm such a good, nice guy, but even me, if people find ways to not like me, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? God loves us.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Okay. So, MarKeisha, we're gonna close it out. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Of course. I can't believe it's time already.
It's time. Yes. Hey, we've
just been vibing.
We're gonna vibe some more. Trust me, we about to vibe some more. MarKeisha, where can they find you?
Where can they find? I don't know because I'm changing everything. Okay. It's like, where can they find me? I'm going to give you my new information. So you can find me at hello@xire.io. That is direct email to me. Or you can find us at xire.io. That will be the new website. And yeah, I mean, if you have questions, you can find me also on Twitter or X _MSTRDOM. Okay. Yeah. Or LinkedIn, of course, MarKeisha Snaith.
Yeah, she's always on there. Got some great photos too.
I am always on there. I can't wait to put this on there.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. MarKeisha, it was great having you on.
Thank you for having me on again. This is always a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Yeah, if you have the availability, I know you're busy. I always ask you.
I am, you know what? You always tell me in advance.
Yeah, like 2 months.
So I'm able to plan around that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do more stuff. Trust me. Thanks for everybody watching the Tech Woke podcast. Remember, if you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any different thoughts, put any in the comments down below. Check the podcast out on all the different podcast platforms. We're on all of them. Make sure you subscribe to those channels. Also, check out the school community that I'm starting. It's going to be mainly for RMF cybersecurity. You should see the water print on the video. Make sure you check that out if you want to get more knowledge. I'm going to put some courses on POEMs, RMF process, and how to find jobs in cybersecurity. So if you're a young person or a person that's trying to transition careers, that's a good platform to check out. Also, I'm starting something in the future. Hopefully when this video comes out, we already have it. It's going to be RMF Academy. So RMF Academy is going to be an academy where you can learn RMF for the government people that's trying to get better in the field. And also go on the website, techworldpodcast.com, buy some merch, check it out. But remember, everybody, get 1% better every day. Peace out. I'll see you on the next one.